Hello, my name is Grace, if you've never been here before, and this year I've been doing a no-buy challenge. The goal of this challenge, in a nutshell, is essentially just to spend money on experiences and actual things that are genuinely going to enrich my life and not buy any new things to come into my home, as I am also a minimalist. So really just trying to simplify everything and be really intentional about all the stuff that I'm bringing into my house and spending money on. This challenge has definitely forced me to be a lot more creative with how I have filled my needs, I guess you could say. I've definitely done a lot more DIY projects, asked around friends and family for pieces of clothing or things, have plans to do some repairs on other pieces of clothing that I already own, or rely on my Buy Nothing group in order to fill in the gaps of something that I might really need. So far, relying on my friends and family have been really helpful and important, and a lot of my friends and family have given or gifted me things that they don't use or want anymore. I got basically an entire trash bag full of yarn from coworkers, friends, and neighbors in the neighborhood through my Buy Nothing group, and also crochet hooks and yarn. And actually, one thing that I literally just did and plan to paint my nails with later is I mixed up this nail polish because I really wanted a pink nail polish, but I didn't want to spend money on nail polish. So I mixed up some red into this white that started getting a little bit chunky. So now it's actually the perfect consistency and the perfect color for me. So that was one little cute thrifty thing that I did today. So if this sounds intriguing to you at all and you haven't started a no-buy challenge yet, you don't really know where to start, I'm going to give you some tips of things that I've kind of learned throughout the process of this year and would give to someone that is just starting a no-buy challenge now, where there's literally no start date. It doesn't have to start at the beginning of the year. It starts the day that you start it. And to whoever's doing this already. So anyways, without any further ado, let me share some tips on how to revitalize or start up a no-buy challenge in the middle of the year. As always, I say this every time I talk about the no-buy challenge, remember your why. Mine has evolved a lot, and I feel like when I first started the challenge, my why was just, I want to live in New Zealand on a homestead. But I feel like now that I've gone through half of the year thinking about the challenge and really the core essence of what the point of it was, for me at least, I'm realizing that I just want to be free of the consumerist mindset that very deeply plagues our society. I really wanted to get away from the immediate thought and need and brain connection to, once there's a problem, immediately spend money to solve it, because that is not always necessary. I have found so many creative solutions to the problems that have come up this year so far without spending any money, and it's been really rewarding and also extremely eye-opening, because I'm like, wow, how much money have I wasted in the past? Don't want to think about it, but that's okay. We move forward. Obviously, as I mentioned, I'm also saving up for an international move in about 4 years, so saving extra money, all the extra money that I'm going to be saving is really just going towards that. So in general, being more intentional about my purchases is just funneling towards that in the end. So that's my bigger why. But yeah, I definitely had, I wouldn't say a full-blown shopping addiction, but I definitely had some issues with just spending money totally willy-nilly, not looking at my credit card statements at the end of the month, not knowing how much I actually spent at the end of the month, and kind of just going through life blindly swiping my card and hoping for the best. And then when my debit card ran out of money, I would just blindly swipe on my credit card, and racked up quite a bit of consumer debt, which I am stomping through by the end of this year. But it's taken this challenge and being really methodical about it to make that happen. Any money that I can save or things that I can be really frugal about or smart or intentional about in terms of purchasing and spending is just going to help me now and in the long run, because my far off goal is so big and so far away. It's like years and years away. I have the time to really sit and be like, okay, what are my goals? What are my priorities? Being smart about my purchases now is really just going to help in the long run, really for the rest of my life, because after this no buy challenge, I'm going to talk more about what we are going to be doing moving forward, my goals, tips, personal ideas about it. But I would really like to continue this frugal lifestyle and really detach myself from the immediate need to buy things. All in all, the best way that you can really take care of yourself in this society is unfortunately financial stability. And I know that with insane amounts of inflation right now, it is really, really hard for people to even make ends meet, especially if you don't have a financially secure family that can help you out in tough times, or you are living in a place with a really high cost of living, or you have a really high rent or whatever. I feel like it's between the Gen Z and the millennials that are flying the nest at the moment, that are really just trying to figure out how to rely on themselves instead of still asking or needing their parents or other family members to help, because we're in a really tough spot at the moment. So I just want to really help us succeed moving forward. Obviously, there's nothing that we can do about other certain financial situations that we may find ourselves in, but the least we can do is tackle our own spending habits and make sure that we are controlling everything that we can personally control. At the end of the day, the more intentional you are about your purchases, the more impervious you are to the rampant consumerism that is just being fire hosed at us every single day by promoters, marketers, our society at large. If we are invincible to that marketing, that whole thing, we are unstoppable, really and truly. So the second thing that I wanted to bring up, I guess, is to really get your priorities in check. I would say that I didn't really talk about this when I was discussing that I was gonna do a no buy year, although I feel like I kind of glossed over it and it kind of was like seeping into the message that I was sending to everyone. But I think it's really important to write a list or journal or talk it out, kind of like do some reflection on things that are really meaningful to you, that like genuinely improve your quality of life, things that you feel you cannot live without. So I would consider creating a list of things that you regularly spend money on, and if you're brave enough, going through your credit card statements and tallying up the things, kind of putting them in categories, seeing the percentage of things, the amount of money that you're spending in each category of your life. It can be quite brutal sometimes, especially if you've been recklessly spending or just not fully aware of all the money that you're spending or where you're spending it. I remember a couple months ago just briefly glancing over some of my purchases from last year and seeing that I spent a lot of money on lots of different things that I definitely did not need to spend money on. After going through and seeing the things that you regularly spend money on, seeing how much you spend in each category, maybe creating a list of things that you want to cut off, maybe some things you want to do cold turkey. For me, it had to be clothes because I have a problem with buying clothes. I know that the second that I start, I can't stop. And if you're a really keen viewer and have been with the channel for a while, you might notice that this is a shirt that I did not have before. I got it for free from a family member, so don't worry about it. I'm not buying clothes. I'm acquiring some clothes this year, but I'm not buying any. Essentially, I would suggest creating a list of things that you're cutting off cold turkey, things that you maybe are allowing, but creating a strict budget or a quantity like limit for that thing. And that brings us to number 3, which is to create or update an official list and create a plan. So my personal framework that I discussed in November, back when I was discussing doing a no buy year, is essentially a green light, yellow light, and red light list. So on your list, you're creating just things that you are allowing yourself to do. Green obviously means go. It means always allowed. Don't think twice. No worries. Just buy it and it's fine. This is really just going to be the list of like absolute necessities and non-negotiables, like groceries, medical expenses, you know, daily living functions that you absolutely need, or things that are like, I will literally, it's not worth living if I don't have this in my life, like a gym membership or whatever. Something that is like for you, for your health, for your literal well-being in this world. That's the green list. The yellow light list is a pause, like a wait, hold on. This is the list where you are allowed to buy the things on the list, but you just want to take a moment before you do. Like really think about, do I have the money for this? How many more times am I allowing myself to do this month? How much more money am I allowing myself to spend on this month? And those kinds of things. Or if it's something that you're kind of like, maybe I will have to replace something this year, that's kind of also on the yellow list. After going through other channels of seeing if you can find it for free or borrow it from a friend or family member or whatever, I would also highly suggest doing something along the lines of like, if it's on the yellow list, maybe have like a 48-hour holding period before you're allowing yourself to purchase it, just so you really make sure that you are not just caving into an urge in the moment, because it's like a kind of a gray area. Do what you need to do to make it work for you. And obviously the red light list is just a hard no, like absolutely not allowed under any circumstance. For me, it is clothes, shoes, nail polish, things that I just do not need to buy. Books is also on that list for me, because there's plenty of books in this house. There's plenty of books on my Kindle, at my library. Like, I have options, so why would I need to spend money? You know what I mean? So create that list for yourself, or update the list that you already have to really like hone in on your priorities, as we mentioned before. And then one thing that I didn't quite mention in the first video that I made about this is really to have a place where you can track your purchases. You can do it in a Google spreadsheet. You can track all of your purchases. You can track your spending. You can track how much money you're spending in each category, or you can even do it on a calendar or a little pixel chart, like this day was green, this day was yellow, this day was red, whatever. Whatever way works best for you, do that. But find some way to track it so you can at least be aware, because I feel like the most important part about all of this is the awareness and intentionality, as I say a million times in my videos. Just be intentional about it. If we're not aware, then we're not able to be reflecting on it. We're not able to see where our weaknesses are. We're not able to see where we might be struggling, and we need to fix the rules or whatever to support ourselves. The rules are not there to punish you, they are there to support you, okay? That is a really big, important thing that I just wanna clarify. The last thing, number 4, is really just to be nice to yourself, because things are going to go wrong. That's one thing that I didn't really foresee. Well, I feel like I kind of did. I probably mentioned something about the fact that like things are probably gonna go wrong, like it's not gonna be perfect, you just have to get back on the horse and keep going. I feel like I mentioned progress over perfection a couple of times in my no buy videos, but really just like understanding that things are going to come up, whether they be medical emergencies or like something breaking in your home, or like damage occurring. Like obviously we don't want any of these things to happen, but sometimes they do. Like if you own a car, something could happen, or whatever. We just have no way to foresee any of this happening, and I feel like you can't get discouraged when these things maybe come in and wipe out some of your savings or whatever. The thing about this challenge is that we want the financial stability to help us along, because these things are gonna happen no matter what. And if you're doing this challenge, the likelihood of you accumulating a bit of savings as you do it is very high. So it will help you when these things pop up. That is one thing that a lot of people have mentioned in our community of people, how they would have been totally screwed if they hadn't have saved a bit of money from doing the challenge for a couple of months, and having that little bit of cushion to help them through a tough financial blow. You know what I mean? I've made a couple of missteps throughout the year. I've definitely done some things that I was like, maybe I should not have done that. I definitely have had to reevaluate some of my yellow light lists and purchases. I definitely have to be a bit more stringent when it comes to really clamping down on how much I'm spending on my yellow light stuff every month, because that's something that I've noticed that I'm kind of using as a bit of a scapegoat. So you just have to keep adapting, keep adjusting to the challenge, and keep rising to the occasion, because obviously it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to just get through the whole year and have absolutely nothing go wrong. You just need to be nice to yourself and allow yourself to mess up and just keep going. I know I'm always talking about evolving the challenge to make sure that it's supporting me best, and you just have to make sure you're doing the same thing. I know myself, and I know that when I crave dopamine, I go to shopping as a fix for that. If I'm feeling sad, I go to shopping to fix that. And I've been trying really hard for the past couple of years to break that habit for sustainability, for frugality, for so many reasons. But I know that like buying things whenever I'm feeling a little bit sad is not financially or ecologically sustainable in any possible way. So I have molded my rules and my challenge around those things because I know that those are my weak points. I know that I can really rein it in when it comes to like dance classes or concerts or whatever. I have a much easier time saying no to those things, which is why they're in my yellow light area, because I know that I have willpower when it comes to those. But when it comes to other things that are on my red light list, all bets are off. All bets are off. My boyfriend really wants me to go thrifting with him so that I can help him pick out some new clothes that he's gonna buy. And I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried. I will probably see if I can take you guys along with me and if like give you a bit of a rundown on the experience, but I can't lie, I'm very nervous. So again, creating those rules and boundaries and things for yourself so that you don't fly off the deep end, because you know yourself better than anyone else. And if you don't, maybe ask your friends and family where you think, you know, you could use some support in terms of overspending. Just again, take a look back and see what things you've spent money on. I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna be really eye-opening. It might bring up a lot of grief, shame, sadness, embarrassment, but that's the only way you can move forward. And you just need to forgive yourself for what you did in the past and move forward with what you're going to do in the future, because that's literally all we can do. You can only control what you can control. You know what I mean? So just work on the things that you can control and don't worry about the rest. I really hope that those tips were helpful. I hope that it helped you reflect a little bit if you are currently in the midst of the challenge like I am, or if you wanted to start your challenge anytime throughout the rest of this year. It's not too late to start, okay? It's never, ever, ever too late to start. I am here for you. I am not a financial expert though. I will disclaim that right now, right here, right now. I've literally said it in all of my videos. I'm just here for you emotionally because I know what you're going through. I'm going through the same thing. I'm just here to share my experiences and maybe give some tips along the way to help you guys out if you would like. So, with that said, I'm gonna end the video here. I really hope this was helpful. I am so grateful to all of you for everything, all the time. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you so much for being here on the journey. Thank you for joining me. I feel so much less alone knowing that we're all going through this together. So in the comments, if you're still watching this video, I would love to hear some of your wins, some of the things you've realized about yourself this year, something you're proud of that you've accomplished this year because of this no buy challenge. And I'm just really excited to celebrate with all of you in the comments about all of our wonderful achievements, because it's not good to just focus on the negative stuff. We just have to keep going, okay? And until the next one, I'm sending you all my love because we are just trying our best out here, okay?